Good evening, guys. Good evening, everyone. So, as part of the curriculum or as part of the training roadmap, so we will be having, as discussed, like we will be having daily aptitude test, right? I'll be asking simple aptitude questions, and the reason why I am asking this is some organizations conduct aptitude test even for 10 to 15 years experience guys also, right? Note that like some people ask me like, why do we need aptitude test? Aptitude test is only for freshers. Nothing like that. Before last year I attended one company's interview and they have conducted aptitude test for despite having 15 plus years of experience. I attended the aptitude test and I cleared it. But so how you have to attend, like if that is part of the evaluation process, anyone, no matter whether you have 10 years or 15 years or 20 years experience, you have to clear that aptitude test. Generally that aptitude test will be first round in the interview process. Clear, guys? In the interview rounds, for aptitude test will be the first one, right? So let me ask some questions to you guys. Okay, let me ask some simple questions to you. The questions will be something like this. Suppose you bought a product for 150 rupees and sold it for 180 rupees. Okay. What is your profit percentage?
20%.
20%.
Okay, I heard some different answers. 20%. Other than that, someone told some other different answer. Any other answers, guys?
No, sir, 20%.
I'm not hearing from others. Santosh, Sindhu, Shravan.
20%.
20%.
20%.
20%.
Okay. So if you like, you can ping it in the Zoom chat as well. Okay, but ping it to me separately. Okay, don't ping it to everyone. In the Zoom chat, when you post some answer, right? So you'll have an option to select either everyone in the meeting or a particular participant. So select the host over there. Select my host name over there, so that I only will get that. Others, will not be able to see that. Clear, guys? Right. So I need not explain this, right? How it is 20%. Yes, percent is the right answer, and I need not explain, right? How it is 20%. So aptitude questions that they ask will be something like this, right? Will be something like this. Now one more, like few more. This is it. Do you feel that it is required or no?
Yes, sir, it is required.
It is required.
What is your percentage? Again, what is your percentage? If you got 40 out of 50 marks in an exam, what is your percentage?
80%.
Right.
80%.
Right. So some 25% of the students are like who are like freshers, right? 2019, 20, 21 passers are answering this wrongly. They're saying that 90%. Right? I heard this, I heard this answer from anyone. I have the WhatsApp chat conversations also. Right? If you got 40 out of 50 marks in an exam, yes, percentage is 80. Right? So I was really surprised when I hear this answer, when I heard this answer from them. Okay, the next question I would ask is, okay, if this is 90%, so 25% of the freshers, not 25, like 40 to 50% of the freshers are even those who are having career gap also. I heard answer as 90 here. The next question I would ask is, okay, if this is 90%, what if like if we get 45 out of 50? Got it?
90%.
Then the answer that I heard is 95%. What's there in that? That is 95%. Right? Right? I was really surprised. I was really surprised, and on hearing those answers. Right? Just for your information. Now, next one. If we get, let me copy this. Next question would be this one. Okay, 25 out of 20 marks. 20 out of 25 marks in an exam. Then what is your percentage?
80%.
80%.
80.
Right. This is also 80. Right. Next one. Last one. Last one for today.
Yeah. Okay.
If you get 30 out of 40, then what is your percentage?
25, sir.
75%.
25.
75.
Right. I muted everyone because there is some background noise from few participants. Please unmute if you want to speak. Please, hold and press and hold the space bar if you want to speak something. So pressing and holding the space bar will temporarily unmute you. Clear, guys? Can you please try that once? Press and hold the space bar to temporarily unmute yourself, and then once you release the space bar, you will be muted again. Clear? Right? So see, the aptitude questions will be something like this only. Okay. Now I heard one, one strange question for someone. What is the relationship between performance testing and these questions? Why are you asking this? See, generally when someone call me for inquiry, right, for joining the training, right, I also ask these questions, right? Most of the times I ask such type of questions. Not exactly these, but I will ask some random numbers. I'll change the numbers here and there, right? So one guy asked me like, why are you asking all this? What is the relationship between like these questions and performance testing, right? Yes, there is. In performance testing requires minimum logical skills, right? And when you are running a load test or any type of performance testing, right, we had to prepare a report, and we had to analyze the results and prepare a report. So while preparing that report, we do all these such type of calculations. Okay. Suppose if the CPU utilization in the previous release was like, for example, like 40%, right? Let's assume, okay. So let's assume that every month some new code will be released, right? Let's assume that, in Feb 20, or I'll take March 2022, CPU utilization on the servers is, let's say, 40%. Now, in April 2022 code, when we are doing performance testing for a April 2022 release cycle, right? Let's assume that CPU utilization went up to 50%, right? Let's assume like this. This is CPU utilization. This CPU utilization means. So where can we check the CPU utilization, memory utilization on a machine? Is there a simple way to check that?
Task manager.
Right. So you can open task manager and you can check that, right?
Perfman also.
Yeah. Yes. We can use Perfman as well. However, this is the simplest way, right? If you open task manager and go to performance tab, here you can see what is the CPU utilization. What is the CPU utilization currently, guys?
14%, 13%. It is
Right.
high.
Here you can see it is showing utilization over here, right? Let me highlight this. So CPU utilization is being displayed here, isn't it? And can you tell me what is your system configuration by seeing this? If someone asks you what is your system configuration, suppose this is your system, right? Can you tell me what is your system configuration? Guys, come on, you know that. Most of you know that. Okay, let me ask. So when someone asks like, what is your system configuration? What you have to tell is i7 processor. And what is this one? This number 10. Or you remember, like, whenever you see some laptop configuration in Amazon or Flipkart, or if you visit any store, they say something called 8th generation, 9th generation, 10th generation, right? Yes or no?
Yes.
Have you ever heard that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And this is your generation, your processor generation. So what is the processor generation here? This is a 10th generation processor, guys. Right? This is a 10th generation processor. So this is processor model. i7 is the processor model, and this is generation. Got it? And speed is this is nothing but 2.6 gigahertz. This is nothing but the processor clock speed or the processor speed. 2.6 gigahertz, right? And what is the CPU utilization currently? Here you can see it's varying between 10 to 20%, isn't it? right? And how many processors are there? Observe here. This is a 6-core processor with 12 logical processors, 12 logical cores, right? Is it clear so far? And what is this uptime? Anyone? Yes, these are all self-explanatory, so doesn't require any computer background. Uptime, it is showing us 7 hours, 11 minutes, 6 seconds, right? Or no, sorry, 7. So this is seconds, this is seconds, right? 41, 42. This is seconds, minutes, right? Hours and days. What is meant by this uptime?
So how long that computer is being up and running?
Right,
Since you
as simple as that, right? It's running continuously without shutting down from 7 days, right? Approximately, right? So, and what else you need to know? You need to know about your RAM size, right? What is the memory RAM size? And this shows your memory capacity on your system. What is the RAM capacity here?
8 GB.
Right. This particular machine has 8 GB of RAM, right? Here you can see this has 8 GB of RAM, out of which 86% is already in use, isn't it? And here you speak in terms of percentage, whether it is CPU or memory, we speak in terms of percentage. That's why you should know these percentages, how to calculate percentages and all. And also when we are preparing a report, right? Suppose you have to, you have to provide some, like we will discuss that later. Okay, I'll come to that later, right? So if you observe here, CPU or memory utilization, we speak in terms of percentage. And see here, disk utilization, this is nothing but disk utilization. Again, this is also shown in terms of percentage, isn't it? And here you can see 10%. So this is GPU means, what is meant by GPU, anyone?
graphical.
Right, graphical processing unit, right? It should be graphical processing unit. And again, you see here, right? This is the GPU activity, 4%, 6%, and so on, right? And of course, this is your GPU processor, temperature currently, right? These two are important, CPU memory utilization, and of course, disk utilization is also important, right? And also remember here, like we are discussing in terms of percentage, isn't it? So you should know these percentage calculations, okay? Definitely. Agree with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right? And I also ask those questions to check their logical skills, okay? Just minimum calculations, right? The basic calculations, right? There is no maths here, right? Some people say that, no, sir, I am poor in maths. No, there is no maths here. I'm not asking geometry or trigonometry or here are calculus, isn't it? All right. So let's go to the PPT. So, yeah. So daily assessment we will be having from tomorrow onwards because we haven't started any topics yet. So I'll be starting this daily assessment from tomorrow onwards. So let's start with performance testing fundamentals. Okay. So yeah. So before that, these are some Windows shortcuts that every software engineer should know, whether he's a developer or a manual test engineer or a performance test engineer or automation test engineer. Every software engineer should know these Windows shortcuts, right? So of course, this Control C, Control X, Control V, you already know that. And quick access, I hope you know that. What is that quick access? What is quick access, guys? Suppose there is some folder which we are visiting very frequently, right? Let's say you are visiting some folder, you visit some folder very frequently, right? So you can add that to the quick access like this. So observe here, you have some folders pinned over here, right? These folders are added to quick access. Clear? So how can you add is, 1 second, I'm not comfortable with Windows 11 yet. Okay, so I'm looking for this. Okay. Pictures, let's say. Okay. By the way, this is Windows 11, guys, right? This is Windows 11. So you can try it. If you have Windows 10, you can try it on your machine. Let's say, for example, you visit this folder very frequently, right? So every time, instead of going to E drive, software, web tools, what you can do is here you have an option here, right? Pin to quick access. If you click that right now, observe here. Next time, if you want to go to that folder, right, open a Windows Explorer like this, Windows E, right? Type Windows button and letter E on your keyboard, and you will get this File Explorer, right? File Explorer, and you can directly go to this. You can click on this quick access or shortcut to go to that folder directly instead of going to E drive, software, web tools. Clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Right. So please try it on your machine. If you have, most of you may be having Windows 10, right? So please try to pin some folders, right? In WhatsApp also we have an option to pin some group, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So in the same way, this will be very much helpful. This is one of the very much helpful Windows shortcuts, right? This is quick access. And one more thing, when you have multiple tabs open, right? If you want to switch between the tabs, you can use Alt tab. Let me show you that, like, as we have some non-computers background, guys, right? So this is how you can switch. Suppose I want to go to Task Manager. I'm using Alt tab on my keyboard, and now release that. Now I see Task Manager. Suppose I want to go back to Notepad++. Okay, again use Alt tab, right? See where Notepad++ is there. Navigate till there and release the space. Release the keys. Now we are on Notepad++. Clear, guys? Use these shortcuts, particularly those who are keeping experience, right? You have to use these shortcuts. Okay, if you learn these shortcuts, right? So no one will suspect you if it is, once we start working from office, right? So if you are using shortcuts, lot of keyboard shortcuts, right? No one will suspect you. Yes or no? Guys, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Right.
yes.
The next shortcut, useful shortcut, is Windows D. Suppose I want to go to the desktop, right? I can use Windows and letter D on the keyboard, right? Now I can see my desktop, isn't it? So that is Windows D. And then Windows E for File Explorer. To open File Explorer, we use this. Actually, Windows E stands for Windows Explorer or File Explorer, right? And suppose I want to maximize this. So let's say, for example, I am seeing some page in the browser and I want to maximize this. I can simply use F11 button. Now you will see a bigger view, right? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Right. So if you want to switch back, revert, right? You can use that into button, right? I'm using F11 again, guys, right? And again, if you want to see, you can use the same button again, F11 again, to revert back and see the browser as well. Clear, guys? This is to maximize Windows. Is it clear? What is the shortcut?
Sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Please practice these shortcuts, guys. Those who are not aware of this, please practice these shortcuts. One more thing, I have listed some Zoom meeting shortcuts as well, because we'll be using only Zoom meeting predominantly till the training is completed. So for that, like I listed out some Zoom meeting shortcuts. For example, Alt A is for mute or unmute, right? Alt A for audio. If you want to temporarily turn on your audio, right, or turn off, you can use Alt A, right? See, it's simple to remember, like, if you know the why this shortcut came, right? Alt stands for, okay, so Alt means generally alter. That is a short form for alter. What is the meaning of alter, guys?
Changing, sir.
Right? Alter means change, right? Change in character or composition. Alter means, general meaning of alter is change, right? So Alt A here means change the audio, right? As simple as that. Now you won't forget that, right? Or if you want to turn on or off your video, if you want to turn video on or off, you can use Alt B, right? And space bar is to temporarily unmute, right? Press and hold the space bar if you want to temporarily unmute yourself, right? And suppose you want to send some message in the Zoom chat, use Alt H, right? If you want to share your screen, use Alt S.
Okay, sir.
Right? Yeah. Now let's move to the next one. Now the next important one. Know your computer. So we all know what is KYC, right? What does KYC stands for generally? What
Know
is
your
the
customer.
universal definition is know your customer, right? So I just changed it to, adapted that acronym and I named it as know your computer, right? And these are the few important computer basics that everyone should know. What is meant by IP address, right? Anyone, what is meant by IP address? If someone asks you what is meant by
Internet
IP
protocol.
address, what? IP stands for Internet Protocol. What is IP address? What is meant by IP address? Or can you tell me what is the IP address of your computer? If you join from laptop or a desktop, can you please check and ping it in the Zoom chat? Guys, please do it, everyone. Can you please post your IP address? Check and post your IP address of your laptop or a desktop, whatever you joined from. Guys, please make it fast. I didn't get any response yet in the Zoom chat. Okay. So let me show you like how to check the IP address, guys. So yeah, I got some response. No, IP config is the command. Yes, I want you to type the IP address of your machine. Okay, type cmd, right, and use that command IP configure. Can you please try this command, guys? Type this command IP config in the command prompt. Everyone, please try this. Now, can you tell me what is the IP address of this machine? So yeah, Hari pinged that his IP address is 192.168.1.3. Okay. And what is the IP address of this machine, guys?
192.168.0.136.
136, right? Yes. So this is the IP address of this machine, 192.168.0.136, right? So we pronounce that 0 as O. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right? In IT, we pronounce that 0 as O. So it should be read as 192.168.0.136. That is the IP address. And now, is this private IP or public IP? Again, there are two types of IP addresses, public IP and private IP. Now tell me what, if it is, whether this is public IP or private IP. Anyone?
Private IP.
Right. Then what is, how to check the public IP? So first of all, what is meant by private IP?
So there is one main internet connection what you are getting directly connected to the internet, and if you are internet, if you have any internet or something where all the computers are connected within that network, means there
Right.
we can give our 192 series.
Right. So this is private IP. Private IP means within your network, right? If you have someone is running notes, you can note it down. This is private IP. Private IP means within your network. Suppose you are staying in an apartment, right? If one of your neighbor asks you like, where do you stay, right? You will simply say like, I'm staying in so and so apartment, flat number, or this is my flat number. Yes or no? So that is within your neighborhood or within your apartment. Suppose if an outsider asks you, where do you stay? What do you say there? You will not say apartment number, right? Obviously, you will not say the apartment number, flat number, sorry. You will not say the flat number, isn't it? If an outsider asks you. So you will say your building name or something, yes or no? Your community name, or if you are staying in an apartment, like you say the building name, yes or no, guys? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Suppose if your neighbor, neighbor or other flat owner, other flat resident ask you, where do you stay? You say some flat number 101 or 102 or something like that. But if an outsider asks you, where do you stay? You'll generally say your apartment name or building name or community name, isn't it?
Yes.
Right? So that is external to the external world, right? Something to the external world, right? And now what is this public IP? How to check my public IP is simply go to open any browser and type what is my IP.com. Can you do that, please, everyone? Here it is, guys. Here you can see, right? You can read it clearly. My public IP v4 is. So this is the public IP of this machine, right? Or my network, right? Clear, guys? Suppose if you have more than one computer connected to the network, right? So public IP remains same, whereas private IP changes from machine to machine. Understood or no? Right? Suppose if you have like 3 or more computers, more than one computer connected to your Wi-Fi or LAN. Each machine will have a different private IP address. However, public IP address remains same, right? And this is assigned to, this is dependent on our internet connection. So here you can see it is showing what is ISP, by the way.
Internet service provider.
Right, ISP stands for internet from service provider, and I am using Zoom broadband or Zoom fiber solutions, right? And that identifies my network with this public IP, as simple as that, right? I'll show you, like down the line, I'll show you, like we will be like I'll show you 2 or 3 machines which are connected to my network, and I'll show you the IP address of each of them. Okay, and remember, like private IPs, like what is, any observations here, guys? Private IP starts with some number, so someone pinged like their IP address, right? I got only one answer from Hari, one response from Hari. Yes, please check it. Like you should know what is IP address, how to check the IP address of your machine. Everyone, please do that. Or you want to directly go to performance testing? You want me to directly start performance testing? You don't need this. Please let me know so that I can also save a lot of time. Right. Observe there, like all the private IPs that are IP addresses that you are typing, right? Now someone typed, like someone started posting like public IP. Okay. Right. Anyways, like you understood the difference between public IP and private IP, everyone, guys?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And what is meant by host name? Next one you have to know, everyone should know, is what host name. There is something called host name of a computer. Yes.
Who is handling this?
Yes. What is host name?
The name of the computer.
You are the host of.
Right. Host name means name
of
of the computer. Right. Someone said it correctly. So host name is nothing but name of your computer. And how to check that, guys? What is the command to check the host name of a machine or of a computer? Simply type host name. In command prompt, type host name. Right. So this is the name given to the computer, this computer or this laptop. Right. Of course, by default Windows gives name as desktop only by default, right? However, this is the host name of this computer. Understood, guys? And where else can we see that? Yes, please be interactive. Where else can we see that? You can go to this PC, right click on this PC and click on properties, isn't it? See here, this is the device name, this is the computer name, or this is the host name, and it shows your processor configuration. What is the what are the specifications of your processor, memory capacity, and all these details, isn't it? Which operating system is running on this? This is Windows 11 Home, right? You get all these details in where do you get this, guys? Everyone, please do that. Right click on this PC and click on properties, select properties, right? And check the details that are being displayed, configuration of your system. Please do that, please. And what is this, guys?
Windows 11.
Right. What is that? Windows 11, what is that?
Generations. 11th generation.
No. It's called as, we call that as, there is a general term for that, right? So what is this? What is this Windows 11, guys? Version of OS. Yeah. Hari response was version of OS, right? What is operating system? What is OS, guys? What is meant by operating system? Yes, please respond.
Sir, Windows, Android.
Yeah, if someone
These
asks you
are
what
the-
is operating system, if someone asks you to define what is operating system, how do you define that?
Microsoft Windows, Google's.
No, I don't want I don't want different operating system. I am asking what is meant by operating system.
So set of programs which are being written to control the hardware and then the software display systems and then CPU CPU, device, hard disk, and everything.
Right. So I think, yeah, seems like Google search definition got from Google search, right? Operating system is the software which runs your computer, right? As simple as that. Yes or no, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next, post name we are done. Port numbers. What is meant by port number? We'll discuss that later. Okay. Once we start sample applications, demo application, right? You will definitely come across this port number. So for time being, port number means like it is a software port. It's not a hardware port. It's a software port. We'll discuss that in detail once we go to start with the demo applications. And the next one you should know is what is LAN and what is WAN. And please kindly repeat that. LAN and WAN stands for
Local area network and wide area network.
wide area network, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Next comment that you should know is, next thing that you should know is what is ping. What is most of you might have known this, right? Heard this at least. What is ping command used for?
Preference.
We will check like whether the computer is accessible over that NIC card or not, over the IP address.
Right. Suppose if you have more than one machine connected to your network, or else if you want to ping if you want to check if you are able to communicate with another computer or not, right? We generally use this ping command, isn't it? So open command prompt and you type ping and you get the IP. You have to use IP address of the other machine in your network, okay? Or any IP address, okay? Let me quickly check the IP address. Okay, remember that. So I have one more personal laptop at my home whose IP address is currently 192.168.0.130. Sorry, this is 136, right? The other machine IP address is 134, right? I remember that as 134. Let me check that. Okay, so since like it is shut down, sorry guys. 1 second, I have one laptop up and running. Let me check that. I'm checking the IP address of the other machine that is currently running. Okay. It's 188. I have one more laptop at my home, which is my office laptop, right? 192.168.188. Now you observe the difference, right? Currently, this laptop, this particular one, okay, 134, I have shut it down. I had shut down that laptop. That's why you are seeing this message, destination host unreachable, right? However, there is one more laptop running at my home, which is my office laptop, and the IP address is 192.168.0.188. And you saw the difference between these two, guys. Destination, see, for this laptop, you got destination host unreachable because that machine is shut down, right? Let me quickly turn on that machine, okay? I just want to show that also. I would have logged in from that machine also, actually. I should have logged in from that machine also. Anyways, understood, right? This machine is down right now, shut down currently. This one, which one? 134. That's why I got a response like this for my ping command. So however, this machine is up and running. My office laptop is up and running. So when I pinged that machine, I got a response like this, reply from like this, right? And you see here, this to check that communication, whether that, whether the machine is accessible or not, right? This machine, this particular laptop, which one, the current one that I'm using is 136. It has sent 4 packets of data to that remote machine, that other machine. It has sent 4 packets of data and received 4 packets of data. So there is no data loss, and this confirms that that machine is up and running. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I turned
Yes,
on my
yes.
personal laptop also, whose IP address is 134. Okay. Let me confirm the IP address. Yeah. So the machine IP address is 134, right? Now I want to ping that 134, my personal laptop, right? I already typed that IP that command over here, isn't it? And I need not type again. I can simply use this up arrow on the keyboard. I'm using up arrow on the keyboard. It is showing all the previous comments. Understood, guys? Guys, are you with me?
Sir, one doubt, sir.
Yeah, let me ping this. Let me enter that. Okay. Now you see that response. You see that we are getting some reply from that machine, right? Yes or no, guys? And of course, the one request timed out. Let me try it one more time. Should not happen. Maybe some network glitches. You see, right? It has sent 4 packets and received 4. Clear? Yes, please.
Sir, why how this pinging is used, like what it shows, sir?
Okay, once you join a company, right, or once you join an organization, suppose you want to check the they asked you to run a test on some other machine, right? You want to check whether you will be able to communicate with that machine or not, or you will be able to connect to that machine or not, or if that IP address is a valid IP address or not, right? So you can use this command, ping command.
Sir, always it is showing like packets 4 and 4, send 4, receive 4. So is
Right.
it same or anything? Sometimes
No,
different?
it always sends 4 packets, right? This is first packet. This is the response for second packet, third packet, fourth packet. That's what this means. It will send some 4 packets of data and see like whether it is able to receive those packets or not. So that's what it shows, the ping statistics over here. And observe here, approximate round trip time in milliseconds means it took a minimum of 68 and maximum of 159 and average of 98 milliseconds. Right? Means what are these timings, guys? To send those packets and receive those packets, right? These are the timings taken. Observe here. See, out of these four packets, right? Let me annotate. Let me use this annotate feature. Observe here. These are the timings taken to send and receive the packets. Out of which the minimum one is 68 milliseconds, isn't it? Maximum is 159 milliseconds, and average came to be 98 milliseconds. How this average is calculated is?
Minimum plus maximum by 2. Sum of minimum plus maximum.
Only sum of minimum plus maximum?
Sum of 4 by
Average of
sum
all.
of all the 4 values by number 4. Number of samples. Right?
Yes.
Right? Someone pinged me like, can you please repeat the ping command? Please go through the recorded session. I will upload the recorded session to my YouTube channel anyways. Like, please go through that. Okay. Right. And the next command that you have to know is, or next computer basic that you should know is FQDN. FQDN, which stands for fully qualified domain name. Right. I will discuss this when I'm connected to an office laptop. Right. So then I'll show you on that. Okay. So this comes into picture when you are connected to some domain, right? So I'll show you that. I'll explain you that later, as and when time we come across that, right? And the next one is firewall. So what is meant by firewall?
So firewall can be any hardware or software using which we can configure what kind of IP protocols that we can let from the network to come inside our computer.
Right. How to check the firewall? Yeah, got it. So how to check the firewall on your computer? Right? You go to you can go to Windows search, type firewall.cpl. Sorry. It opens your Windows firewall. Observe here, right? So this is your turn Windows Defender firewall on or off. Click on that and it will show you right now currently the firewall is turned off. By default it will be turned on. So we are doing some some master slave setup using JMeter. That's why I turned it off. However, by default it will be turned on. Can you please open this window and check whether it is turned on or off on your machine, everyone? Can you please do that for me? How to open this firewall settings? How to go to this Windows Defender firewall? How to go there, guys? How to open that? How to see that? How to check that Windows firewall?
Go to Windows search and
Windows search and type
firewall.
Type firewall.cpl. CPL stands for control panel. Okay. You see here firewall.cpl. It is a control panel item. So CPL stands for control panel. Okay. So and it opens this window, Windows Defender Firewall. That window will be opened. If you want to see whether it is turned on or off, like so by default it will be turned on. Yes or no? Yes or no, guys? By default this will be turned on, right? By default it will be looking like this. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, you joined from mobile phones. I think most of you joined from mobile phones.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir,
okay.
Sir,
Okay.
actually, it is showing like I mean, I'm using some K7 security, sir. So it is showing that message, not like your screen.
Okay, we'll see that. We'll discuss that later. You can share your screen and we'll see that. Okay.
Okay.
Next thing you should know is host file. There is something called host file in Windows operating system. This also we'll discuss that later as and when like the situation comes. And next thing you should know is command prompt and elevated command prompt. Another important thing that everyone should know. Every software engineer should know. So command prompt, everyone knows that. And what is elevated command prompt?
So taking more admin permissions to run command prompt commands.
Right. So command prompt with admin privileges is called as elevated command prompt. Right. So command prompt with admin privileges, that is called as elevated command prompt. And how to open that elevated command prompt? Type CMD and you get an option here. So observe here, run as administrator. You are able to see my screen, right, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So you see an option here, right? When I type CMD, right, you see an option here, run as administrator. Right. Now you get a notification, you get a confirmation, window, user account control. Do you want to allow this app to make changes to the device? Click yes and observe here now. This is called as elevated command prompt. You see here, right? Normal command prompt will have just a command prompt. That's it. Okay. Let me open one normal command prompt as well. CMD, right? You see here, you'll see Windows System 32 command.exe. This is a normal command prompt. Okay. And now this is administrator command prompt. Observe here. And this administrator command prompt will have more privileges. Right? In Linux, we call that as super user. Right? In Windows operating system, we call that as admin command prompt. This admin command prompt or elevated command prompt will have privileges to run, any command on the operating system or any command on the machine. Right? We'll come across this. We'll revisit this, in the training, in the course of the training. So when we discuss some, I think like during JMeter, when you are learning JMeter, right? So we'll come across this. We have to use administrator command prompt, right? And the next one is Windows PowerShell, right? Again, Windows PowerShell is an inbuilt utility. How can we launch this Windows PowerShell? This is Windows PowerShell, guys. Right? Explore what is Windows PowerShell. That would be your DIY for today. DIY means do it yourself exercise. So, however, this is called as Windows PowerShell. Okay. So explore and we'll have an assessment tomorrow on what is Windows PowerShell. Clear, guys? And I already covered what is Windows what is meant by operating system and how to check the system configuration, isn't it? Guys, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
If you are using Mac OS or Linux, right, we have to use the command. If you want to check the IP address, we use a command called ifconfig, right? Linux or Mac OS, any Linux operating system machine or Mac OS, we will use ifconfig. Clear? So I have already covered like what is operating system and how to check the system configuration, isn't it? And additional clocks in Windows, we will use this in the training. So we'll discuss that later. And what is remote desktop connection? So I will explain this when these additional clocks will be useful. Whenever you are working for a US client or UK client, right? Or if you want to see what is the current time in US or current time in UK or any other time zone, right? You can set up some additional clocks over here. By default, it is showing local time, is IST time, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
I'm referring to the bottom right portion of my screen. Okay. So here currently we are seeing the time in our current time zone, right? So 1959. Suppose if you want to see what is the time in EST, or Eastern time zone, or Pacific time zone, or Central time, US Central time, right? Or any other time zone, right? So you can configure some additional clocks over here. Okay, you can configure additional clocks. So you can go to settings. Right, somewhere you will have an option. Can someone help on like where is it in Windows 11, guys? Actually, like I know this is not my personal laptop. I have like Windows 10 only on my personal laptop.
Time and language.
What is that? Okay, you
Time
can
and
search
language.
here. Okay, you can search here. Find a setting. You can search here time, right? Change the time zone. Set the time automatically. Change the date and time settings. Somewhere you will have additional clocks. In Windows 11, I am aware of that option. Okay, let's do one thing, guys. Can someone share your screen? Those who are having Windows 10, can you please share your screen?
Sir, it is there in the last, sir. Go to the bottom.
Yes, additional clocks. Yeah, additional clocks, right? So what you can do here is you can select this option. Okay, so USA, right? So you can select the time zone and you can select the display name, right? Click OK. It's not showing here, right? It should show those additional clocks over here once they are selected. Okay, maybe I'm missing something. This is Windows 11, which is new to me. That's fine. So I have like Windows 10 on my personal laptop. Okay, so for because of some issue, I'm using this other one. Okay, so but like we will use this additional clocks frequently, like when we are working in for a UK project or US project, or if you want to see like what is the time, what is the current time in that time zone, right? So we use these additional clocks. Next one you should know is remote desktop connection, and this is used for if you want to connect to a remote machine, for instance. Okay, I have one machine on my let me show you how to connect from this machine to the other machine, my personal laptop, right? This is my personal laptop. Okay, so how to go here, how to connect to a remote machine is go to Windows search and type remote, right? This is one way to launch this remote desktop connection, or else you can type MSTSC. MSTSC also brings up this window, remote desktop connection, and type the IP address of that machine and click connect. You need to know the credentials of that machine, username and password for that machine, right? Right, now you can see here, guys, I am able to connect to that machine. So let me, yeah, now you can see here, I told you, right, I have one personal laptop running on, and that this is the IP address of that machine, right? Now I connected to that remote machine. Okay, so I saved the credentials. That's why I did not ask for credentials. Otherwise, it will prompt for the credentials. Got it?
Yes, sir.
Guys, are you seeing the other computer? This is my personal laptop. Okay.
Sir, one doubt, sir. What is that? What is the username password like?
What is the?
I mean, how do we know the username password? So if we have only a log set, like a pin setup for the other thing, how do we know the username password?
No, you have to ask like the owner of that computer if you want to connect to that. See, why I did not ask now is I already saved it actually. Observe here. Suppose if you select this, always ask for credentials, right? If that is selected, right? See, observe here. Now it is asking for credentials. Okay, this is my username and I have to enter my password. Let me enter my password.
Microsoft username password.
No, that computer's username and password. Microsoft username and password. Yes. When we install operating system, right, we give some username and password. Right? Those credentials. Okay. We need to enter those credentials. Yes. Right. And I entered my password. And previously I checked this remember me. That's why it did not ask for password. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now I am able to connect. I should be able to connect to that machine. Right. Now you can see I am able to connect to that machine. Clear, guys? So this is how we can connect to a remote machine, right? Using this option, remote desktop connection. Now Windows shortcuts I already covered in the previous slide, right? And one more thing everyone should start learning is Excel basics, Excel and MS Word basics. Okay, as you know, for the first 10 days you will not be having any scripting work. Please start working on Excel basics. Learn Excel basics. You need not be an expert in Excel. However, it's good if you learn some Excel basics. For that, open your Excel, right? And if you open any Excel sheet or something, sorry, 1 second. So 1 second, guys. Let me repeat that. Open Excel. Once you open Excel, right, you'll have some tutorials, video tutorials. Okay. So observe here. So welcome to Excel. 1 second. You see here some tutorials, right? Welcome to Excel, drop down tutorial, formula tutorial, Power Query tutorial, and all this. Please go through these tutorials. Okay. For the first 1 week or so, you will not be having any scripting assignments. Meanwhile, complete this Excel basics. Go through these Excel video tutorials and learn some Excel basics. Or else if someone is using cracked version, you will not see these tutorials. You can rely on YouTube for that, right? Search for some Excel tutorials in YouTube and you will have a lot of tutorials over there. And also MS Word basics, right? Once you launch Word app, right, again you will have some tutorials here. Take a tour, right? And all this. Go through those Word basics. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Because every software engineer should know this, not only like a performance test engineer, but whether you are a developer or a manual test engineer or an automation test engineer or a performance test engineer, right? We'll be using Excel and Word regularly. Daily we'll be using Excel and Word. So please, if you are good in those, well and good. Otherwise, please go through those some tutorials, right? And this you have to. I cannot cover this in the training. It is out of scope for the training. So you have to learn it yourself, right? This is like the next DIY exercise, do it yourself exercise. Next thing is what you have to know is static IP and dynamic IP. What is meant by static IP and what is meant by dynamic IP? If you remember, we checked the IP address of this machine, right? Just now, right? How to check the IP address, guys? On Windows, the command is ipconfig, and this is the IP address of this machine. And now remember that this is not a static IP. This changes from time to time. This is not a fixed one. Okay. So that is dynamic IP. That is a dynamic IP, right? Even this public IP also, this also changes. This is not a fixed one, right? By default, you will get a dynamic IP only. If you want static IP, you have to ask your ISP, your internet service provider, to provide a static IP. For that, you have to pay something per month, some amount per month, right? But for now, remember that there is something called static IP and dynamic IP. IP addresses are not fixed by default. If you want a static IP, you have to get that from you have to ask your ISP, internet service provider, to provide you a static IP. Okay. Of course, you don't need a static IP, but you should know that the IP addresses will be dynamic IP addresses by default. Clear, guys?
Sir, one doubt.
Yes, please.
Sir, normally, I mean, we are going to log into the remote computer, right? Suppose just now before you logged into your computer 130.
Right.
So if that is a dynamic IP, if it is changed, then how can you log into the set?
Host name remains same unless until we change it explicitly. IP address may be changing, but host name will be remains same.
You are logging.
If you remember, yeah, okay. Thanks for asking that. Let me show you one more way to connect to that machine. Okay. So here instead of IP address, you can type the machine name, host name of that machine. You can also use that host name. Understood?
Okay.
You want me to show that?
Yeah, once.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Desktop. Oh, 1 second. Let me check what is the machine name. That machine name is desktop-T8NT. Let me type it. Desktop-T8NT. T and T8, 8 and T8 and B63. Okay. So sorry. This is not the username. Let me change the username. Use a different account, right? So I have to use that machine credentials. Understood, guys? That machine credentials. I'm entering those machine credentials. Then connect. And if you get this, if you check this checkbox, right, don't ask me again for connections to this computer. You will not get this notification again. So what is it showing here? Remote computer could not be authenticated due to problems with its security certificate, right? So it is asking for the user confirmation. Do you really want to connect to that remote machine? If you check this, you will not get this prompt again. Say yes. We know that that is my personal computer only. Now I am connected with the machine name to that remote machine.
Okay, sir.
Right, you see here, this is the host name of that machine, right?
Okay, sir.
Because unless until you change the host names explicitly, we can change the host name, by the way, but unless until we change it explicitly, that host name doesn't change. The IP address may change, but the host name doesn't change, right? That is where like this host name will be useful. Clear?
Yes, sir.
And we will discuss this VPN and WinSCP, PuTTY and environment variables later on. Okay, I'll stop it here for today. Okay, so any queries before we close the session for today?
Pawan, I have
Initially,
some.
by the way, initially we will be having 1 hour per day. So once we start the actual tools, right, I will be taking 1.5 hours, because so I need to, I know like we need to follow this, like the try 1 second. So we need to follow this, right? So I want to have every day, I want to have, follow this daily aptitude test, table topics, daily assessment, right? And we'll have theory or scripting sessions for 50 to 60 minutes per day. Last 10 minutes would be dedicated for doubt clarification, Q&A session or doubt clarification. So once we start the actual tool, I'll be taking minimum 1 hour, 1 to 1.5 hours I'll be taking mostly. Yeah, someone is asking something.
Pawan, this is Hari. Pawan, so if the application runs on non-Windows like Ubuntu or RHEL or CentOS actually, so in that case, JMeter can we run there, and we can, whatever the performance metrics that we are collecting from the Windows OS, similar kind of things can we gather and analyze from that Linux-based platform OS?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Most of the remote machines will be running on Linux OS only. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
So most of the remote machines which you will be using for test executions and all, right, or most of your servers like web server, app server, DB server will be running on Linux boxes only.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Windows operating system is for personal use, right? This is for home purpose. We will be doing using Windows operating system, right? But most of the servers will be running on Linux boxes only.
Okay, so are we going to cover as part of this training to show?
Yeah, yes, definitely. Let me show you one slide. Okay.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is, like 1 second, checklist for master JMeter test execution. 1 second, master slave configuration. Okay. So let me quickly show you that. I will cover both on Windows OS. Here you can see this is for Windows operating system, JMeter distributed testing, master slave configuration on Windows OS, as well as if you see the next slide, this is for Linux. These are the steps for Linux boxes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry,
And,
because most of our applications runs on that cloud.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. I will cover some Linux comments as well. We'll have like I generally suggest this website for Linux for practicing Linux commands. I generally suggest this website webminal.org. Right. So can everyone access this website webminal.org? Webminal.org. And please register yourself. Click on register button and enter your username and email address and password and register yourself. So this will be helpful to practice Linux commands. Okay. And good thing is once you log in, right, I already have credentials. 1 second, let me log in. Sorry. I logged in. Now, once you log in, right here, you can see you have been logged in. Now, if you want to practice Linux commands or if you want to learn Linux, right? It's simple. You need not have that Linux operating system, or you need not have any VM installed. So if you go here, right? If you log into the machine, right? It will ask for your credentials again, right? And observe here. Right, so observe here, when you are entering the password, actually it will not display the password, or it will not display anything, but it will take the password. Oh, sorry, let me re-enter the password. Okay, first let me enter the login. This is my login name. Password, I'm entering password. Oh, okay, see here, I'm able to log in, right? And like observe here on the right side, you'll have lot of lessons here. Observe here, right? Select any lesson and it will show you some, like this is a step-by-step learning process. PWD is for to check the current present working directory. Okay, so you can practice the commands over here. You can read the description and practice the commands over here. PWD, right? It shows you present working directory. PWD command shows you present working directory. Suppose if you want to see the username, you can type who am I. It will show you the username with which you log in to this Linux terminal. Clear, guys? I suggest or I recommend everyone to register with this webinar.org and start learning Linux commands, right? If you learn Linux commands and if you can keep Linux in your CV, right, in the skill set, you can easily get 2 to 3 lakhs more package than others. Okay, and it doesn't take much time. It hardly takes 1 week to, or else couple of hours, just a couple of hours, 4 or 5 hours to learn some basic Linux commands, right? But you can expect like 2 to 3 lakhs more package than others. If you have Linux in your CV, SQL commands in your CV, so you can expect a very good package. If you have Linux and SQL, you can expect double package than others. Everyone, please register for this webinar.org and start going through these Linux lessons. After which, after load runner and jmeter, I will be covering some Linux commands which we will be using in real time. Okay, I'll show you. I will list out some commands which we will be using in real time, and I'll explain you in which scenario we will be using those. Clear, guys?
Yes.
Okay, I have one separate slide deck for Linux commands. Let me quickly show you that before closing the session. Right here you can see this. I'll show you one batch tracker also where I covered those Linux commands, previous batch trackers. So I think I covered it in Fab batch. Let me show you that. Control F. There.
Pawan?
Yes.
I don't have any Windows laptop. I have that Mac and then Linux servers only. So whatever the hands-on and other things with respect to the JMeter, can I able to execute all these things with the Mac and then Linux ones itself?
Yes. So when you are using terminal in Mac OS, you are actually using those commands. Most of the commands you use that in Linux as well.
Okay. Okay.
Or else you can register with this webinar.org. You can practice Linux commands here.
No. I have only Mac and then I don't have any Windows laptop. That's why.
So that's fine. This is a
the
website.
training?
See, this is an online website. Webinar.org is an online website. It doesn't matter whether you are using Mac or Linux box or Windows OS. See, this is the terminal provided by this website.
Pawan, my question is, I don't have Windows laptop. Whatever the hands-on sessions I wanted to practice during
Okay,
that.
sorry.
Yeah,
okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. If you are using the Mac OS, right, MacBook or something, right? So you cannot use, we can't install load runner on it directly. Sorry, I didn't get your question correctly. So load runner you have an issue, but JMeter you can use that.
Okay. So what about that? Having that virtual box and then installing that would be helpful.
Correct.
Actually.
Yeah. If you want to install load runner, right, you have to go for either a virtual box. You have to install Oracle virtual box or something, and on top of that, you need to install Windows OS and then you have to install load runner. For load runner only. This is for load runner only because load runner currently doesn't support Mac OS or Linux.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we are covering the first JMeter itself, no? Pawan?
I actually have 2 batches starting from next week. One batch for load runner and the other batch for JMeter.
Okay.
I think I explained that in the last session.
Yeah.
Okay, so here you can see like these. 1 second. February batch is about to be completed this week, and we completed JMeter in this batch. Okay, and I'm going to start load runner in this batch for this batch. Okay, so the other batch I'm going JMeter is about to be completed. I'll be starting load runner in morning batch 7:30 to 8:30 batch. And observe here, if you observe here, I applied I am explaining this agile methodology and sprint and all these concepts, stand up call, sprint and all these concepts. I applied that for training. And observe here, like every day we are having stand up call in the beginning, right? You got it right or no? You are already working, you better understand this.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah, so we did a sprint planning meeting on 27th March, and we took the next 2 weeks as one sprint, and we are following that sprint based model. Okay, just to help students understand how the sprint model works and to answer any interview questions on that. So I am applying the sprint based model to training. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh, I didn't pass recording. Okay. Any queries before we close the session for today? Guys, please register with this webinar.org and you will get an activation mail to your Gmail ID, whatever personal email ID you give. You will get an activation mail. Then you will be able to log in and you can practice Linux commands. You have around 15 to 20 lessons here. Please go through those, right? And you will definitely get 3 to 4 lakhs package, 2 to 3 lakhs package minimum if you can keep Linux in your CV and you can answer basic Linux commands. You need not be an expert in Linux. You need not write any shell scripting, right? If you can answer basic Linux commands, you can expect 2 to 3 more lakhs package than others. So start practicing this. By the time we start the tool, right? You should be comfortable with. If you are comfortable with this Linux basics, I will explain some Linux commands which we use in real time. Okay. Very much useful commands, right? Which I used in my real-time experience, right? I will be covering those commands, guys. Clear, guys? So I'll explain what is curl command, what is grep command. I'll cover all this. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir. Yes, sir.
Shravan is pinging. If you can hear him, 1 second. Let me check. Okay. Yeah, Shravan. Now you are on. You are in unmute, Shravan. Let me pass recording, guys. Okay. For recording purpose, let me do some self promotion. So thanks for watching and like, share, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Have a nice day.